staff, management, and advertisers.
All right, what's going on, everybody? A very happy Friday. Thank you, everybody, for being here. PTL Nation. Obviously, a very busy news day today. It's been a very busy news week. Seems like every day it's something new, but obviously we are continuing to monitor the situation between Israel, Iran, and, of course, the United States. We'll be bringing you the latest there. Don Lemon going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. Always good to catch up with D. Lemon. Going to ask him a little bit, too, about Juneteenth. The fact that not only the White House and the Trump administration is refusing to really even basically acknowledge it, but they're bragging about the fact that people are working on Juneteenth and they're not doing anything to commemorate it. So we will be discussing that a little bit here in just a few minutes as well. As far as what Donald Trump is telling everybody is 2 weeks. We're giving Iran 2 weeks. Just like in 2 weeks, we were going to get a replacement plan for Obamacare. So we will certainly be talking about that as well. We are in the YouTube Super Chat where your questions and comments can be heard. You could also check out the website, pushingthelimits.live. We welcome all of you also within the Occupy Democrats Network, the Washington Press Network, and, of course, my personal website, which is pushingthelimits.live. Basically, what is going on right now is Iranian and European officials met in a bid to revive diplomacy. My understanding is that it didn't go very well. So we are going to be talking about that as well, obviously. But what we do know is more than 24 were injured in a strike on an Israeli city. And it doesn't seem like they are any closer to peace now than they were 24 hours ago, when they were a month ago, or quite frankly, 30 years ago. But Donald Trump, once again, is saying, give me 2 more weeks. He wants 2 weeks when it comes to a replacement plan for Obamacare. He wants 2 weeks when it comes to the war in Ukraine. As we know, he campaigned on 24 hours, and it appears as though he is getting played by Benjamin Netanyahu. So we'll have to wait and see how this thing plays out, as far as I know. But right now, it appears as though the United States is going to be getting involved into another war. But to talk to us a little bit about this and the fact that it seemed like, well, not that it seemed like, the Trump administration basically ignoring Juneteenth and what that day stands for, to talk to us about this. Very happy to call him a friend. I've been watching his work for years, and it's always a pleasure and a privilege to have the Don Lemon from the Don Lemon Show joining us right now on the program. Don, I do appreciate you coming on, as always, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I know you're doing great because I'm keeping tabs on you, and you're holding. I love that you're holding the folks on Piers Morgan in check. What did you say? Trump derangement? There was something that you said recently that was so effing funny.
Well, I get Clay Travis and Roger Stone and Jack Posobiec saying I have Trump derangement syndrome. My response to that is they have Trump fellatio syndrome.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I said to Roger Stone was hate tweeting at me because Pierce keeps retweeting my quotes. Roger Stone said I had Trump derangement syndrome. And I said, you're the guy that's the 7-count felon that is out of jail because of Donald Trump. And you wear the Trump knee pads 24/7. He didn't like that very much. But how I am, Don. I go at these guys. I appreciate you being here, Don. And I wanted to ask you about this. As a black man living in America, when you hear Caroline Leavitt say that they're really not even acknowledging Juneteenth and they're bragging about how everyone is working on this day, how does that make you feel? I mean, I'm sure it's not a surprise to you, but how does that make you feel?
Look, it doesn't make me feel anyway because they're idiots, and they're showing their racist. They're putting their racist, bigoted cards on the table. And by the way, Charlie Kirk doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I had a very blunt message for Charlie Kirk this morning. That was F off, because how could you not want to? I don't care what your political ideology is. Nobody cares. Okay, I don't care about that. But the fact that you wouldn't celebrate such an important part of American history when enslaved people in this country were freed, like either you're doing it just for show or just because you think somehow it's going to help you, it's going to be more expedient for you politically, or you're just an ass, or you're just a racist. And so I don't care that they do, but I think that we should call them out. And I do think it's a self-own when they do stuff like that, Brian.
And this comes done in the same week where Donald Trump removes a Martin Luther King statue from the Oval Office. What other reason would he be doing that other than the fact that not only he doesn't respect Martin Luther King or the civil rights movement altogether, but he's just a blatant racist. Why else would you remove a statue like that?
Right. Remove a statue right during Juneteenth.
Right.
Because you're a bigot and because your supporters are white supremacists. And most of them are white supremacists or racists or bigots themselves. And I know people say all the time, Brian, are you calling all Trump supporters racist? No. But I'm saying in order to be part of the Trump movement, to support Donald Trump and MAGA, you have to overlook a lot of racism. And some things just speak for themselves. So if you're going to remove it, either you remove it during Black History Month or you remove it on Juneteenth. And then that sends a message to his racist supporters like, hey, I got you. Look at his cabinet. It's mainly white men, a couple of white women, one black man. Of course, the black guy is the head of HUD, and he is a kiss up anyway. So you know what's up.
Completely agree. Don, did you ever think we'd be living in a country in our lifetime where ICE would be showing up at department stores, schools, synagogues, churches, and right outside of courtrooms? People trying to do it the right way, Don, as you know, and they're literally getting arrested coming out of a courtroom. Did you ever think we would see this in our lifetime?
I didn't, but I did when Donald Trump took office, and especially this time. I think we all, this is a message and a lesson to everyone who is listening. It should be a lesson to everyone who's listening, who's listening to Brian Shapiro today and beyond, that we've gotten too complacent, that we've gotten too used to the finer things, or everything being so easy, or having information at our fingertips and being financially okay. We've gotten too complacent. Remember what happened with Roe v. Wade, what could happen with same-sex marriage. Look at what happened with affirmative action. If you think that these things can't be taken away or rolled back, you are delusional, because they certainly can be. So I say you need to look at the folks out on the 14th, the 5 million people who are protesting, and get in line and start doing it yourself. Otherwise, all these things that you take for granted that are of comfort and convenience to you and just your own, as an American, you are owed that right. Your rights could be taken away too. So don't be fooled by that. This is a lesson more than anything.
What did you make of Donald Trump calling in the military for these LA riots? Obviously, the overwhelming majority of these people were peaceful. There were some agitators and some people that broke the law. What do you make of not only bringing the military in there, but not even having a place for them to sleep or stay, food or water? I mean, what do you make of that?
He has no domestic agenda. He has no foreign policy agenda. He doesn't have a compass for any of that. None of it's written down. You saw his folks who are going in front of Congress for hearings, and everyone is saying, well, where's your budget? Look at your budget. You're blowing through it like a drunken sailor. We have no plan. We don't know where you're going. Donald Trump doesn't know where he's going. This whole idea about, well, first of all, he shouldn't have sent the National Guard in because it didn't need it. I happen to be in Los Angeles right now. Where this is taking place is only a few city blocks. If you look at the news and you listen to the Trump administration, you would think that the entire city of Los Angeles is up in flames and it's just on lockdown. And that's not, indeed, that is not the case. He didn't wait 2 weeks for that. So this whole 2-week bullshit lie that he always tells, like, in 2 weeks, we're going to do 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, we're going to do that. That's because he has no idea of what he's doing. And he's taking his fingers going, what should I do? He can't piss off Vladimir Putin, and he can't piss off Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi Netanyahu is dog walking him all over the world. He's supposed to be the leader of the free world, and the de facto leader of the free world now is Bibi Netanyahu, who, for, by the way, at least 30 years has been lying about Iran and weapons, or getting a nuclear bomb or a nuclear capability. So, it's going to be a week, it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be a year. They're going to get it. He's been saying the same thing since 1995. Donald Trump has been saying the entire thing that he's been in politics, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And they're both cut from the same cloth.
Don, I'm pro-Israel, but I am not pro-Benjamin Netanyahu. I think he's been bad for Israel. I believe that they are inflating or, trying to play Donald Trump to what you alluded to so that the U.S. can get involved here. And as you said correctly, since the mid-90s, we've been hearing nuclear capabilities. I think Benjamin Netanyahu is playing Donald Trump the same way that Vladimir Putin has been playing Donald Trump. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, Benjamin Netanyahu has been playing the American people and his allies and NATO for decades, right? Mm-hmm. And so now he's playing Donald Trump. He knows that Donald Trump is not going to break with the foreign policy that we have now for Israel. Donald Trump he has to support Israel. It's part of his constituency, and he needs that. So there's not going to be a break there. And he knows Bibi Netanyahu, knows that Donald Trump is weak. He knows he doesn't know what he's doing. As you can see now, he's saying, I'm going to, again, the 2-week thing, he's popping up like we're going to make a decision. We're going to do this. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't have anything to do with it. Bibi Netanyahu is calling all the shots. So yeah, is he playing Donald Trump? Absolutely. Can he play Donald Trump? Yes, because Donald Trump is weak and he's dumb, not only for domestic policy, but foreign policy as well. And yes, Bibi Netanyahu is playing, and also Vladimir Putin playing Trump as well. Trump is just a puppet.
I have 2 more quick questions for you, Don. You know, you were someone that suffered when you were at CNN. You had death threats. You probably still do. There's a lot of crazy people out there. I'm wondering what you make of Mike Lee and his comments on social media after these horrible murders took place in Minnesota. And then Lee goes on social media and he starts making a joke and making a mockery of what took place there. He eventually took the tweet down. He since has not apologized. You know a thing or two about political violence, and you've had to deal with threats over the course of your career. What do you make of this guy and the fact that he's still a sitting senator and Republicans are keeping quiet about this?
Well, that's the MAGA party right now, is that they don't really care about anything except for their own power, and they're drunk with power. And Donald Trump is basically just a Trojan horse to get everything they want through. They don't care about. They're not the party of family values. They're not the party of anything like this. You know what I'm saying? And so I think, what do I make of it? It's just indicative of what the Republican Party is and has become right now. But I got to tell you, I get letters all the time. I get a number of letters from different jurisdictions where people because they have to notify the victims, and they'll say, this person is here. He has a hearing here. He got this much time at his hearing, just to let folks know, the people who have been, victims to potential political violence, where the perpetrators who have been convicted, where they are, and if they're getting released. And it's not a fun thing knowing that someone who threatened your life is either near you in a locked facility or is being released soon. And so I think Mike Lee needs to, get a reality check and get on his knees, because they're supposed to be the party of religion, religious nationalism, whatever, and pray to his God that it doesn't happen to him.
You've done a lot of prominent interviews, Don, over the course of your career. I wanted to ask you your thoughts on Tucker Carlson's interview with Ted Cruz. This was kind of wild and crazy. I've never seen Tucker challenge a MAGA Republican like he did over the course of that interview with Ted Cruz. I'm wondering what you made of that.
We're in an upside down world where, right now I'm having to agree with something that Tucker Carlson said, or Candace Owens, or, even Charlie Kirk. Or Matt Gaetz. What is going on? So I think it just shows you that what Tucker Carlson was doing on Fox News was basically an act, because if he wants to be a journalist, he can. But credit to him for this moment, a broken clock twice a day. I don't trust him. Don't trust Candace Owens. Don't trust any of them, because they'll turn on the drop of a dime. They are not for interests or for the Constitution. They are for themselves. And guess what? They're surprised that Donald Trump lied to them. He's surprised that Ted Cruz doesn't know what he's talking about. Then they are dumber than I thought. I always thought that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and the like, they were fairly intelligent people. Obviously, they were hoodwinked by Donald Trump. If they didn't think Donald Trump was going to lie to them about Iran, what is wrong with him? So look, don't trust them. They're good right now, but they fucked around and found out. Pardon me.
That's okay. By the way, Don, I am officially a Lemonhead. I have been one for quite some time. I'm assuming, even though you're in LA, you're still doing your show again later today, right? What do you got going on later today?
I am doing my show later today. Well, first, as soon as I'm done with you, I'm going out to talk to the people of Los Angeles about what's going on in the country, because I go out and I talk.
I love that. Love your man on the street stuff, by the way. It's so good.
That's how you find out what is going on. I want to know what they have to say about Iran, obviously, and is America going to get drawn into it? And if they are, if Bibi, as the same question that you asked, is Bibi Netanyahu playing Donald Trump and playing us? Mm-hmm. And also, I want to know about Khalil being ordered released by a federal judge today. The judge basically saying that they violated his rights to a speech, his Palestinian speech. And so if you believe in the Constitution and you're supposed to be MAGA and whatever, then maybe you should agree with the federal judge and you should believe in freedom of speech in this country. So I'm going to talk to him about all that. That's what I'm doing. And that's what I'm going to talk about on the show.
Can't wait. Right after my show, 2 o'clock, I believe, on the West Coast, 5 o'clock on the East Coast, the Don Lemon Show. Don, you're the best, my friend. Keep up the great work.
Let me tell you something, buddy. You're doing a great job. I mean, you are, seriously, I'm not blowing smoke up your ears. You're going to be a superstar. You're on your way. You're already a star. You're on your way to superstardom. Do not change. You're a better man than me because I can't do those panels and go on Piers Morgan. It's just too much for me. It's not me. But you do it, and you do a great job of it. So keep telling the truth and being Brian Shapiro. Not all superheroes wear capes. Some of them wear hats on the radio.
Don, that means a lot, man. I looked up to you a lot over the years, and I have you to thank, by the way, for helping me with my success. I have you to thank for that. Thank you so much. And again, I'm sorry so much to hear about your sister. I really am. And my thoughts and prayers are with your family. And always appreciate it when you take the time. We'll let you get back to it. I look forward to listening to that Man on the Street stuff. You're so good at what you do. And we'll talk to you soon, Don. Have a good time out there in LA, okay? And be safe.
Thank you, Brian. Be well. See you soon.
Thanks, Don. There you go, everybody. Don Lemon, who I have so much admiration for. I've watched Don on television for most of my life. There's a lot of reasons why I have a lot of respect for Don Lemon. First of all, he's an extremely intelligent person, very educated. Yes, he's opinionated. He's respectful. He's a better man than I, but listen, he's been through the gutter. And when he brings up the fact that he's an open gay man or a black man who happens to be gay, I mean, that's like kryptonite for conservatives in America. I'm sorry. I'm not saying every conservative dislikes you because of your skin color, because of your sexuality, but there's certainly plenty that do. And look at what Don has done with his life. He is a household name, one of the more prominent figures in the news business, and I have so much respect for him. And let me tell you something. As much as I enjoyed watching him on CNN, and I enjoyed watching him and Chris Cuomo, I would watch those shows together, and it helped me prepare for my show. I don't watch a lot of CNN anymore. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm getting tired of CNN. But as much as I enjoyed Don on CNN, I actually enjoy his show more now because he's more unfiltered. We get to see the real Don Lemon, and nobody tells him what to do or say. So if you haven't had the opportunity to watch the Don Lemon Show, obviously he does what I do where he's on YouTube and he's all over social media, huge platform, rightfully so. I highly suggest you go and you watch his show because I think it's fantastic. And I just think Don is great. He's one of the best in the business, and I really feel that. So I feel honored to be his friend. And the nice words that he just said about me, it really means a lot. So I really appreciate Don taking the time to join us. All right, so here is what we are going to do. Coming up next, we're going to take a quick 90-second break. And when we come back next, what's Ted Cruz now, the tops of his priority and his agenda? We're going to play that for you coming up. You're not going to believe it. And then the DHS official, what she said about undocumented immigrants is absurd. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Steve Bannon again. We're going to have that audio to play for you. And then a story of ICE agents outside of a Home Depot tackling people because they're undocumented, allegedly. We have the audio and the video to play for you there as well. So we're going to take a 90-second break. We will take phone calls on the other side of the break as well. We'll be back right after this in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at radioyou101.com.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. It is Pushing Limits. Thank you so much for joining us on a Friday, a very busy news Friday, by the way. And we are going to be joined by Nicole Mitchell coming up later on in the program, life coach, and of course, a former pastor, now turned life coach. She's going to be joining us as she always does every Friday. So we're looking forward to that. We were just joined by Don Lemon, formerly, of course, of CNN, now the Don Lemon Show. Really a pleasure speaking with him. And listen, the luxury of what I do in this business is I get to develop relationships with certain people and certain people that I admire, right? And Don Lemon's one of those people. Now, I've also gotten to know people that I thought I admired, and they turn out to be really bad people. Don's not one of those guys. He's a really good dude, so I really do appreciate him joining us on the program. He is in L.A. today. He wants to speak to protesters and ask them about the possibility of this war with Iran. So I played for you guys yesterday the absolute embarrassment of the interview that Tucker Carlson did with Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was absolutely owned in that interview. Just the ignorance, the fact that he doesn't even know the population of Iran, yet he's willing to go to war with the country is just absurd, right? So what is Ted Cruz talking about now? What is on the tops of the mind of Ted Cruz, Cancun Cruz? They're still focused on Joe Biden's health. This is proof of that. Listen to what's on Ted Cruz's mind.
Not a single Democrat is here today because not a single one of them gives a damn about the fact that they lied to the American people for 4 years. They knew. Every one of them knew that Joe Biden was mentally not competent to do the job. The White House press secretary, she knew when she stood in front of the American people and lied over and over and over again. And they're not here because they can't defend themselves. It wasn't a surprise. For 4 years, the White House hid President Biden from Republican senators. Would not let him meet with us. He served 40 years in this body. We all know him. And they deliberately lied. And by the way, Jake Tapper had a bombshell book exposing the incredible scandal that Biden's mental decline was covered up by Jake Tapper. There's a Yiddish word, chutzpah. And that truly is chutzpah. How dare we lie and cover up what we all knew?
Listen to the anger and the fake anger in Ted Cruz's voice. Oh, yeah, by the way, now all of a sudden they want to say that CNN and Jake Tapper is credible. This is what's on tops of their agenda because they want to just have everyone look at the shiny object in the room. Inflation up, unemployment numbers are up. Looks like we're getting into a war with Iran, another situation of an ill-advised war dating back to the George W. Bush days. The economy is in trouble. There are wars all over the world. The war in Ukraine is worse off now than it was on day one when Donald Trump took office. He is an utter failure. The only promises that he kept was that he was going to pardon a bunch of January 6th insurrectionists, some who beat police officers with their own batons. But Ted Cruz and the MAGA right want to continue to focus on the health of Joe Biden. It's ridiculous. It's sick. Look at what's going on right now in this administration. Look at it. They care more about polls that are being put up at the White House than they care about us possibly going to war with Iran because Benjamin Netanyahu, in my opinion, is manipulating their intelligence to con Donald Trump, to con the con man. Listen, I'll be very frank with all of you. I believe Benjamin Netanyahu is a con man as well. I think he's been terrible for Israel. Terrible. He certainly hasn't protected them. You have a con man conning the con man. It's the same type of relationship between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. The Kremlin is laughing at us. Israel will be laughing at us. Now, of course, if you're Israel and you're Benjamin Netanyahu, of course you want our resources and our capabilities. That's obvious. But you see, Donald Trump is not smart enough to understand what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing. I don't know what's going to happen here in the next 2 weeks, but I can tell you it's not looking good. And it doesn't look like Iran is going to cave. And if they don't, America is going to get involved. We shouldn't. We've been hearing that they have had weapons of mass destruction and they're furthering their nuclear capabilities for literally over 30 years, since the mid-90s. We were told there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. We found Saddam Hussein in a hole in the ground with a pellet weapon and a candy bar. I'm not saying the world isn't a better place without Saddam Hussein, but what I am saying is it wasn't worth the thousands of innocent soldiers we lost, the hundreds of thousands of innocent Iraqis that we lost, and the money that we put into that war, and the money that went in the back pocket of Halliburton and Dick Cheney. That is exactly what is going to happen here if Donald Trump does make the call to go to war with Iran and get involved. If they haven't already, it is going to be about money and being a sucker to Benjamin Netanyahu. How much money have we already given them? $500 billion? This is their war, and it's not ours. And the war that is taking place in Ukraine is completely different. And then there's DHS official Trisha MacFarlane, who, again, completely embarrassed herself on Fox. I want you to listen to the way Trisha MacFarlane, again, this is a DHS official working in the Trump administration. I want you to listen to the way they speak about migrants, whether they're legal or illegal. And before I play this clip, I want you all to understand that per capita, you have a better chance being the victim of a crime from an American citizen than you do somebody that's undocumented. But if you're Trisha MacFarlane, who works in the Trump administration, she would lead you to believe that everybody that is in this country illegally is a violent criminal. Have a listen to this.
Then stop the federal money if these states are not complying with the law.
Maria, we're going to work with Attorney General Bondi on this, but this will not stop us. These sanctuary city politicians are playing Russian roulette with the lives of Americans, but it's also making it more dangerous for our law enforcement. It's making more dangerous for the migrants themselves, these illegal immigrants themselves. And why is that? Because we can no longer go into these jails and pick up these criminals out of them. We actually have to go into the streets and get them. I'll give you a single example. Just earlier this week, our ICE enforcement officers were in this state of Minnesota, of course, Tim Walz's sanctuary state, and we were picking up a convicted child offender, a convicted child abuser. And unfortunately, he tried to evade ICE enforcement arrest, and he actually took the car and started driving, dragging our law enforcement 50 yards. Thank God that officer is okay. He's currently in the hospital recovering. But these are the people, these are the monsters that these politicians are protecting.
Absolutely and positively ridiculous. So it's DHS's position that America should be a nation in constant terror. And only Trump Daddy himself can protect us from those horrible immigrants. And as I mentioned the data, and I will explain it again because you certainly won't hear this from Stephen Miller, you won't hear this from Donald Trump or Tom Homan or any member of Donald Trump's administration. Data shows that immigrants commit fewer crimes per capita than native-born citizens. And I say that on this show all the time. And ICE is rounding up day laborers and farm workers. It's despicable. It's disgusting. And if you are okay with this, then there is something wrong with you. We'll get back to this in a moment. I've been agreeing with some right-wing nut jobs over the course of the last 48 hours. I've been starting to agree a little bit, even though I think he's a horrible human being, Tucker Carlson. I thought he did a really good job with that interview with Ted Cruz. Now, he'll never interview Donald Trump like that. And nobody on Fox News will ever push Donald Trump on the important issues, because I guarantee you Donald Trump doesn't know the population. I guarantee you Donald Trump doesn't know the makeup of Iran. Donald Trump doesn't have a basic third-grade geography. He wouldn't pass a third-grade geography class. But Tucker Carlson would never have the guts to do that to Donald Trump. Frankly, there are very few people in the media that have the guts to do that. But I do agree with Tucker on a number of different issues lately, including what is going on in Iran right now and how we should not get involved. I'm also starting to agree at times with Steve Bannon. Folks, I never thought I would see the day where Steve Bannon would not only go after Fox News and Kayleigh McEnany, but now is going after Sean Hannity. Have a listen to what Steve Bannon had to say just yesterday about some in right-wing media.
Of course, Kayleigh McEnany is infantile. Let's be blunt. That right there is dangerous. That is dangerous. And that is on Fox all day long. I'm absolutely serious. Why do you not think that they're representing a foreign government? Hannity, Levin, the whole crowd. There should be an investigation.
I can't believe I agree with Steve Bannon again. What type of drink did he have this morning? I don't know, but I agree with him. So he's basically saying that Fox News should be investigated. I'm wondering where these people were years ago. Listen, it's very simple. The Sean Hannitys of the world, the Mark Levins of the world, they spread right-wing propaganda. Do I think they represent a foreign government? No. I think they represent themselves, and they want to continue to enrich themselves, and they coddle and wear the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7. But, listen, if they're going to be investigated for anything, let them be investigated. But I understand where Steve Bannon is coming from there. Kayleigh McEnany is an unserious person. Or as what was it that Donald Trump called her? Milquetoast? But Fox News is not a news network. They're a noise network. They're Fox Noise. What they do is they spread propaganda because they continue to spew what people on the right, usually people over 60 years old, what they want to hear. They don't report on the news. They certainly don't report it accurately, and they have zero credibility. And while I am extremely frustrated with CNN and somebody like Jake Tapper, I would still go as far as to say CNN has far more credibility and better journalists than anybody at Fox News. Now back to the ICE issue. I'm going to commend the LA Dodgers organization because if the reports are what they are true, ICE agents showed up there outside of Dodger Stadium attempting to make deportations and arrest, I would imagine, employees and maybe even fans that were there in the stadium. And the Dodgers said, no, turn around unless you have a warrant. I'm not saying there should be some sort of civil unrest or violence. I would never condone that. But I am saying we should start doing what the Dodgers did. Unless you have a warrant, get the hell out of here. Because guess what? If they don't have a warrant, you don't have to open your door. I would say that for anybody, whether you're undocumented or documented. ICE agents are not allowed to go into your private personal space without a warrant. And they are also supposed to identify themselves. And we are learning across the country, these agents are not identifying themselves, which is extremely dangerous because let me tell you something, there's going to come a day, and I hope this doesn't happen, but they're going to start approaching the wrong people. And if they don't identify themselves and they break into your home, many people are going to think, and rightfully so, that they have a right to defend themselves. It's just like when law enforcement executes a search warrant, they have to yell police and identify themselves. We're learning stories all over the country that these agents are not identifying themselves. Not only is that against the law, it puts their safety at risk and the safety of the people that they are trying to apprehend and everybody else in the vicinity. It's despicable. We don't know who these people are. They could be Proud Boys. We don't know who they are. You have to identify yourself. I want to play you a story from a local news station. It happened earlier today where ICE agents showed up in front of a Home Depot. And I didn't want to play just a part of this story because I thought it was very well done and there were witnesses that were interviewed. I wanted to play the whole thing. It's about 2 minutes. This is a story from earlier today where ICE agents were tackling people in front of a Home Depot where kids and families were there seeing everything. And some of the witnesses were interviewed by this local news affiliate. I want to play this for you. Have a listen to this.
Several people were running upwards Wilton's place. I informed them that ICE agents were around the area. They were aware of that, and then that's when an SUV pulled up, came out, 2 agents tackled down a individual with no questions. They placed his face into the dirt, physically apprehended him.
And we reached out to officials for more details on today's raid. They said while they can't comment on every single operation, these raids continue on a daily basis, and that today's raid was routine federal immigration law enforcement operation. You're out here. We've been seeing the gentleman who's been very emotional. His wife was detained. He has no idea where she was taken. But you said some of the people detained today were also your neighbors.
That's right. My neighbors unfortunately got taken. They are not bad people. They are not criminals. They are hard workers. They came here for a better life because that's what the United States is about, right? You have freedom. You come here for a better life because unfortunately you run from countries, your own home. That's not the best, right? You come here looking for a better life. You come here for sanctuary. You come here to think that you're going to make it out here. But unfortunately, with these people coming and taking our own people, the people that constructed California, the people that work for California, the people who do a lot for us, right? They're taking them. What are you going to do when we're not here? What are you going to do when you have nobody left to work with?
And the woman you mentioned who was taken, she's pregnant?
She's actually pregnant. That's the saddest part. She's pregnant. She must have been scared. You don't know if this is going to cause you stress to her baby. You don't know if she might lose the baby from the shock.
Quick question, and I don't mean to come across as insensitive, but this is part of the Trump administration's mandate. President making it clear that anyone who's here, who's not here legally, that this is going to be a part of the process, as inhumane as many may categorize it. There is another argument to that.
I feel like it's wrong. Like I said, they're saying that they're going to take everybody, but why everybody when you have actual criminals that were born here and who have done way worse stuff, and yet they don't get the same punishment we're getting? Why is that? I want an answer to that, seriously. Why is it that criminals can get away with so much who are born here, criminals, and yet our people are innocent? They're working hard. They're doing stuff to make it out here, right?
Thank you.
Think about that. It's a great job by that local news affiliate, by the way. Think about that. Is that the America that you want to live in? It's not the America that I want to live in. Pregnant women in front of Home Depot with families being separated. The argument from the far right is, well, come into this country legally. If that's what you want everybody to do, to come into the country the right way, then how do you explain ICE officials handcuffing and separating families outside of courtrooms when you have these people that are seeking asylum that are showing up for their court date and trying to do it the right way? How do you explain the fact that Tom Homan has said time and time again, our focus is on the violent criminals that happen to be undocumented? But, you know, if we're in a situation where we find some people that are also undocumented, that are nonviolent, we'll take them in as well. Then how do you explain ICE agents showing up outside of courtrooms, handcuffing non-violent criminals? That was obviously a lie, because we know the overwhelming majority of people that are getting deported are nonviolent criminals. So Tom Homan lied. The Trump administration lied about this. The overwhelming majority of these people are good, decent people. But you see, many Trump supporters out there don't see them as such. They see them as brown people. They see brown people as a threat. It's why it's Make America White Again. This is not the country that I want to live in. The country where women are breastfeeding their young children and getting separated with no due process. I don't want to live in a country where a gay hairstylist attempts to go through a legal point of entry into this country seeking asylum, who's never committed a violent crime in his life, who has 2 tattoos on his body that say mom and dad, and he gets sent to an El Salvador prison. That's not the country that I recognize, and it's not the country that I want to live in. But this is Trump America. Why is it, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still not on my side, that Donald Trump welcomes in 10 people that are seeking asylum from South Africa, and all 10 of those people happen to be 100% white? But if you're a brown person living in this country, could be outside of a Home Depot, could be outside of a courtroom, could be anywhere, could be in a synagogue or a church, in a school, and you're someone who pays taxes, you've never committed a violent crime in your life, why is he treating those people like animals, but if you're 100% white coming from South Africa, he treats you like royalty? Why is he allowing anybody, regardless of skin color, that's willing to put up $5 million for a gold card? What about the people that don't have those financial means? Why is he doing this? Well, for starters, it appeases the base. Let's be honest. Most Republicans today do not want brown people in this country. And they could sit here and they can tell me otherwise. But here's what I would like all of you to do. If you get into a conversation with a MAGA Republican and they tell you, I have no problem with brown people coming into this country, I just want them to come in the right way. If they make that argument to do, which is a very weak argument, then ask him this very question. Why is it then, or ask them, when was the last time Republicans introduced a bill to make it easier for people to be naturalized citizens? Now, they won't have an answer and they'll look at you like a deer in headlights. There is one party that has been trying for decades to make it easier for people to be legal citizens. They are known as the Democratic Party. They have introduced bills. They have tried to make it easier for people seeking asylum to come into this country and be legal citizens. The party that is not willing to do so, in fact, they want to make it more difficult, are Republicans. I would say one main reason for that, besides the color of their skin, is the fact that we know that most immigrants that come into this country are not voting Republican. I would imagine that's probably priority number one for the Republican Party. But again, it's very simple. If you get into an argument or a discussion or a debate and you hear these Republicans say, oh, I don't care where you're from, as long as you come into this country legally, we welcome you. Then why is it that Republicans keep voting against bills to make it easier for people to come into this country? It's a very simple question. I think most of us know the answer to that. And it's the same reason why there's less than 1% of those that are in the Republican Party that are black. Why is that? If the Republican Party is so diverse, which, by the way, we know it's not, around 12 to 13% of people in this country are black, give or take. 12 to 13%. Why are only a fraction of those people elected officials in the Republican Party? Why is that? Answer that question for me. Because Republicans usually don't like to vote for black people. And I believe Kamala Harris was a perfect example of that. It's very simple. We don't need to get into the weeds here, ladies and gentlemen. There is one party that does not want open borders, but they want to make it easier for people that are seeking asylum, and they want to treat people like human beings. They don't want to arrest people and separate people from their families that are nonviolent criminals. And, you know, I love this argument, too, that MAGA Republicans seem to make all the time. I hear this argument all the time. Oh, well, Brian, if you're an American and you're a drunk driver or you break the law, you get separated from your family. They try to make an analogy to someone who commits a terrible crime to someone who has never committed a violent crime in their life. And here's the difference. If you're a drunk driver, in most cases, if you don't injure somebody, you spend maybe 12 hours in jail. You're separated from your family for 12 hours. You get due process. You get an opportunity to hire an attorney. You get an opportunity to defend yourself, and you get to go home to your family. There is no comparison between people in this country. That's right, I said people, like it says in our Constitution. Any person has the right to due process. It doesn't say any citizen, it says any person, because our forefathers did that on purpose. And MAGA Republicans are trying to replace the words and the verbiage in the Constitution. Well, guess what? It doesn't work with me, and it shouldn't work with you. And there's no comparison between somebody who gets sent to an El Salvador prison, perhaps for the rest of their life, that is a non-violent criminal. I don't care whether they're legal or not. To someone as an American citizen who commits a crime here in this country, no matter what that crime is, that gets the right to representation and due process. Any person has the right to due process. Doesn't say any citizen, any person. And Donald Trump has defied our Supreme Court. Donald Trump has defied Constitution and the rule of law. And how can some of you people be okay with that? Please explain that to me. How could some of you people be okay with that? How could you be okay with that? Going into religious sanctuaries and deporting people, separating them from their kids, their families, non-violent criminals? How could you be okay with that? Someone who's seeking asylum for themselves and their family, who has a court date and shows up and is responsible for that court date, and even brings a mayoral candidate with them to protect them, and then gets separated from his girlfriend, as we saw the video this week. How could you be okay with that? Mothers being taken away from their children without due process. How could you be okay with that? This country was founded on immigrants. And again, don't give me the argument of, well, Brian, they have to do it the right way. Brian, they have to do it the right way. They have to come into the country the right way. The right way takes 10 to 15 years in some cases. Is that the right way? Is that the America that you want? Somebody who wants to come to this country with their family to make their life better, who has a dream for themselves or their family members and their family members, and you think it should take up to 15 years for them to be naturalized citizens? You're okay with that? Because if you are okay with that, then you have zero credibility. And if you're not okay with that, then you should be criticizing the Republican Party. I'm going to open up the phone lines now. 702-221-7283. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283. Are you okay with DHS official Trisha MacFarlane, who works in the Trump administration, who's basically describing all undocumented immigrants as violent criminals? Are you okay with ICE showing up outside of courtrooms in front of Home Depot? Showing up at Dodger Stadium? Is that the America that you want? It's certainly not the America that I want. We need these people here. We want these people here because so many of these people are hardworking people. They want to be here in this country. They want a better life for themselves. They want a better life for their families, for their kids, for their spouses. And you know what? I welcome that. Yes, is there a very small percentage of these people that are a bad element, criminals? Yes. I don't want those people here. We need to have a strong vetting process. No question about that. But it shouldn't take 15 frickin' years to legalize somebody in this country. That is a joke. How do I know this? I know people. It took them 10 to 15 years. It's a joke. It's sick. Thank you, SMS, for your donation on the YouTube Super Chat. It says, keep spreading the truth, as the truth will set us free. Well, certainly I hope so, SMS. I certainly hope so. It's sick. It's disgusting, and it's not the America that I recognize. Also, Andy says, what sickens me is Trump and his sociopaths talk about fighting anti-Semitism, yet surrounds himself with white nationalists. Andy, it's a really good point that you bring up. Remember what he said about the Proud Boys? Stand back and stand by. Who would talk like that about a hate group? The weirdo says Fourth Amendment is a beautiful thing. More and more businesses and cities are exercising that right. Everyone needs to exercise their Fourth Amendment. You are damn right. If you own a business and ICE does not have a search warrant, you do not have to allow them in. And guess what? You shouldn't allow them in because it's your right. I hate MAGA, and Trump says all this MAGA's blanking off to you, Brian. You're the GOAT. Keep doing what you're doing. Much love, FDT and MAGAs. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. Those kind words. All right, let's get to the phone calls now. Let's get down to business. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Beverly. Beverly is first up on PTL. What's up, Beverly?
Hi, Brian. I agree with everything that you say. I do not understand how the people in this country, no matter what color they are, think that people don't belong here. It was founded on immigrants, and the fact that Indians were here before. I think people need to do their history, do some research on history, and they will find out that Mexicans, Aztecs, all of these people were already here on this land, and it was taken. Some of it was taken from them. But today, in today's world, the Republicans are afraid of Donald Trump and what he's going to do to them. He already said that he would take out revenge and retaliation. And he's showing that he's doing that. So they're afraid to do anything that's right, that's of the law. He doesn't follow the law, and he doesn't want them to follow the law. It's ridiculous that people should have to be put in jail when they're only trying to do the right thing.
Completely agree
with you. My other point is this.
Yep.
There's one other point I want to make.
Sure.
When he did the ICE raid before, and after that, Mexicans who worked for him said that they were, some of them were given social security numbers and everything. I wonder if they raid his hotels, how many would they take from there? but he won't let them touch him.
It's a good point. It's a really good point you make.
That's something people need to think about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Great call. Great point. I completely agree with you 150%. And it is interesting, isn't it? Because Donald Trump just put out a statement, another BS bullcrap statement. He says, Trump says it looks like the U.S. will make trade deals with India and Pakistan. Well, he said it looked like there was a trade deal with China, too. How did that work out? We were told 90 deals in 90 days. How did that work out? I'm just throwing out that question, okay? I'm just throwing it out there. That's all I'm doing. I'm just throwing it out there. We were told 2 weeks, inflation will go down. We were told in 2 weeks, Russia ceasefire. We were told in 2 weeks there'd be a replacement plan, a healthcare plan. We were told in 2 weeks an infrastructure bill, something that Joe Biden had to do. We were told in 2 weeks Iran, Israel would be making a deal. We were told in 2 weeks there'd be a deal with China. We were told in 2 weeks there would be no tax on tips. We were told in 2 weeks Mexico would pay for the wall. Remember that? We were told in 2 weeks he'd hire a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton. 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks. It's the average of how long his marriages have lasted, unless he's in a contractual marriage in this situation with Melania Trump. 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just give him another 2 weeks. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to CJ. CJ is next up on PTL. Hey, CJ, what's going on?
Well, first off, I just wanted to say something that I've been wanting to say for some time since I discovered your show. I love your 3-letter abbreviation, your TLA, because you stole Jim Baker's.
I don't know who Jim Baker
PTL
is.
Club.
I
Remember that?
I don't know who Jim Baker is. I'll be honest with you. Am I stupid?
Oh, he was a televangelist, a big wig.
Oh, okay. I think I do know who he is now. Yes. Yeah, I do. Jim Baker, another right-wing evangelical, correct?
Right.
Okay. Yep.
Got himself into some legal trouble.
I remember. Yes, I do.
All righty. Speaking, though, of right-wing evangelicals, those particularly like Levitt and several of our politicians, I would just love it if a journalist would do this. Next time they say something that is probably not true, ask them to swear it on God the Holy Ghost.
But you know what?
Or son.
It's a good idea. But you know what? They probably would. Because they're fake Christians. These people, by the way, Trump didn't even put his hand on the Bible. And these fake Christians out there who voted for Trump, the guy makes Bibles in China for $3 and sells them for $60. I believe they would swear on God or Jesus because they have no soul. Caroline Levitt, she puts on that cross on her neck and she pretends to be this lovely Christian. She's the opposite of that. You know what? Because if you're a good Christian, you treat people with respect and humanity. Aren't those Jesus's teachings? I'm not a very religious person, but didn't Jesus want everyone to be treated equally based on sexuality or how much money you have? That's what I thought Jesus' teachings were. They weren't to deport people and make a spectacle out of it and own the libs and want people to suffer because they disagree with them. That's the opposite of what being a good Christian is.
Quickie thing about her and the cross.
Yeah.
She stopped wearing it after Jon Stewart did a bit about her and her cross, saying it grows with her lies, like Pinocchio's nose.
I think you're right about that. Listen, I think Donald Trump is very envious of everyone else that lies, because as their nose grows, he wishes every single time he lies, a member of his body would grow, which we know it hasn't, based on Stormy Daniels. Thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate that. So Lori on the YouTube super chat says an Afghan translator, man, by the way, I saw this video, who saved our servicemen, detained when he went to court. National Guard son went with their mom to her court date. I saw that video. It's despicable and it's disgusting. But this is just one of many stories. An Afghan translator who helped our own military was detained outside of a courtroom. Is this the America that you want, MAGA? I saw that video, Lori, and it broke my heart, man. And as he's being taken away in handcuffs, he's saying, I worked for the military. I worked for the U.S. military. And this is how we repay him. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Susan. Susan is next up on PTL. Hey, Susan, what's going on?
Hi, I just have one question that we hear all the time, that everybody is afraid of Donald Trump. What are they afraid of?
Well, that's a really good question that you ask. I think there's multiple factors here. I think if you're an elected politician and you're a Republican, you're afraid of losing power. Now, that would mean that you have no backbone, right? But if you go against the Donald Trump, you're going to get probably voted out of office by Republicans. So I think that's number one. Number two, I think there's a lot of people in this country that are afraid because Donald Trump has immunity and he pretty much is above the law and a mob boss and he can do whatever he wants, that you'll get thrown in prison. Now, listen, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about, and this might not be the best example. But somebody that I know personally, Michael Avenatti, he did some very bad things. He'd be the first one to admit that. He broke the law. He did some bad things. But I guarantee you, Michael Avenatti would not be in prison right now if he wasn't going after Donald Trump. He might have gotten 6 months or a year. But I think there are people out there also that might have skeletons in their closet that are afraid that Trump's DOJ is going to go after them if they speak out. So I think there are different scenarios and different reasons. But as far as MAGA Republicans go, they just want to remain in power. They're selfish and they only think about themselves. Now, there are a select few that do speak out. There are some that I do have some respect for, whether it be the Liz Cheneys of the world, the Adam Kinzingers of the world, even somebody like a Mitt Romney. But make no mistake about it, the overwhelming majority of Republicans in office today have no backbone. They are cowards, and they don't even read these bills. They just vote for them because Donald Trump wants them to.
Well, then I guess the only thing they can do is take him out.
Well, we certainly don't want that to happen. We certainly don't want that to happen. That would not be a good thing for the country. And I know there's some people out there. I don't condone any violence in any manner, shape, or form. I want to be very clear on that. At the same time, impeachment is not going to do any good. The best way to take Donald Trump out, in a sense, he leaves office in 2028, to take MAGA Republicans out of office is to have a good midterms in 2026 and make sure the Democrats learn from their mistakes and put some people running for president that you are confident will get the job done and will get the American vote. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Ray. Ray is next up on PTL. Hey, Ray, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, a couple issues I want to talk to you about.
Sure.
The length of time it takes to be citizen. One of my brother's sons married a girl from Ecuador. They had 2 children. She just got her citizenship last week, 10 friggin' years after she came to this country. So that's something my family experienced. Mm-hmm. She's now a naturalized American citizen. Mm-hmm. And working with people of color, I'm an 80-year-old white man. I've worked with people of different colors, and I have no problem. They were all good, quality working.
Well, because you're a decent man, and you're a man with a moral compass, and you were probably raised the right way, I would imagine, Ray. But I do find there are a lot of people close to your age that are Republicans that think the opposite of you. I mean, heck, I don't know if you remember this interview I did. This was 2 months ago. I interviewed a guy a little bit younger than you. He was running for mayor in some small town, I believe, in Mississippi. And he openly talked about using the N-word. And he didn't seem like there was any problem with that. What do we do with these people other than to roll our eyes and say, you're an ignoramus and I wish you weren't able to vote? I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I worked one job in Richmond, Virginia back in the late 90s. We all had to have partners. We were pipe fitters. And there was one guy that was tan. He was an African-American. He was my partner. Nobody else wanted him. The local said, don't show that N person anything. Do not teach him anything.
Yeah.
Well, I taught him everything I learned over the years. And if the people gave me the evil eye, I said, F you to them.
Well, you know what? You're a good man. You're a good man. And I wish there were more people like you in this country. There are quite a few. I'd like to think the majority of people think like you when it comes to these issues, but there are too many that do not. We got to call them out, my friend, and God bless you, sir. And I hope you make it to past 100. You sound like your brain is still working very, very well, probably better than mine. And I appreciate your call. By the way, I want to remind everybody, we're in the YouTube super chat where you can make donations. We're an independently owned radio show. So if you like what we do here at PTL, then we ask that you go to do us this favor. Besides being interactive on social media and my personal YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show, we rely on your donations. So you go to my website, pushingthelimits.live. So if you go to pushingthelimits.live, You can buy merchandise on there. We sell shirts, we sell mugs, we sell beanies. I get messages from people that wear the gear, which I appreciate. You can also make donations, make monthly donations. Doesn't matter what it is. $20, $10, $5, whatever you can afford. You go to pushingthelimits.live, and it supports independent media and what we are doing here at PTL so we can keep the lights on. So we appreciate you guys in advance for doing that for us. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's see here. Who are we going to next? Let's go to Al. Al is next. Hello, Al.
Okay, Brian, first of all, I don't want to start getting all yelling. Well, we are eventually going to start yelling at each other because I know us. And you're going around saying that you don't support violence.
No, I don't.
And what about all of these people in L.A. throwing rocks at the police?
What did I say about those people? And what did I say about those people? What did I say about those people?
Well, you're saying you're supporting them.
When did I say I support people throwing rocks at officers? See, this is why I get.
So if you don't support them,
This is why.
hold on.
No, you hold on. You just made an assumption, Al, about me. And guess what? I'm not going to scream at you, even though I should. I have said every single day I'm on the radio that I don't support any form of violence. Never have I ever said that, and never I will. But you know who does support violence, Al? Can I give you a hint? He puts on 8 layers of orange makeup, and he's the guy who you voted for. Do you know why? Hold on. It's not okay.
I let you speak.
No, first of all, you didn't let me do anything. It's my show and not yours, Al, okay? I called the shots, not you. That's number one. Number two, the man who you voted for pardoned people who beat police officers on January 6th. So you want to make a judgment about me that is wrong and not true. Why would you vote for a guy who supports people beating police officers on January 6th? Not only did he pardon them, but he called them patriots and hostages. Are you willing to call out your orange leader, the man who you voted for?
Well, I'm going to be calling out the people over in LA.
Answer my question. Nope, you're going to, Al, you're going to answer my question, and then I will let you continue, okay? Do you support Donald Trump, who has called people who beat cops on January 6th hostages and patriots? You see, because it doesn't fit your narrative, you don't want to answer the question. But now you made a judgment.
You're a hypocrite.
Oh, I'm a hypocrite. You're the guy who calls into this show and says you're not for violence. I tell you, never have I ever condoned violence in any way, shape, or form. In fact, when it came to what happened in LA, I said, anybody who broke the law, I want them held to the highest extent of the law. But you're the guy who won't call out Donald Trump for pardoning a bunch of January 6th insurrectionists, some of whom beat cops. So, Al, remind me again who the hypocrite is.
You are the hypocrite.
Why am I the hypocrite?
Call out the Democratic Party.
Why am I a hypocrite?
Hey,
Al, give me an example.
I'm telling you, I just told you, you can't hear?
What? Give me an example. No, you claim that I'm okay with people throwing rocks and violence at protests.
Why don't you call it up? Okay.
I just did, you stupid fool. Okay. I just did.
Okay. Why don't you call out Nancy Pelosi and all those other people for allowing their and Maxine Waters for allowing that kind of behavior in Los Angeles?
Okay, so you didn't respond to what I just said about Donald Trump. Nancy Pelosi. How did Maxine Waters allow it?
I will respond to Donald Trump.
Wait.
I want to respond. Okay, now you want me to hold on. Go ahead.
What did Maxine Waters say? What did she do to support violence in LA? Can you please tell me?
She said, I don't see any violence out there when I'm watching rocks getting thrown over the 101 freeway.
She never said.
I grew up in Los Angeles.
No. You're not going to, first of all, you're not going to get away with that. Just because Maxine Waters didn't see it doesn't mean that she condones it. You're too dumb to understand the difference. Now let's go to Nancy.
Wait a minute. That's your district.
I'm not going to wait a minute. I'm not going to wait a minute. Just because she said she didn't see it with her own eyes doesn't mean that she condones it. What do you think is worse? What do you think is worse? What do you think is worse? Why don't you be quiet?
Let me answer your Trump question.
I gave you 3 opportunities. What do you think is worse? Maxine Waters, who says she didn't see anybody throwing rocks, or Donald Trump, who calls people hostages and patriots who beat cops? Why don't you answer that question?
Okay. Ask the question one more time, please.
Are you serious?
I wasn't paying attention.
I know, Al. You don't. I know, Al. Understand, Al. I know you don't pay attention to a lot of things. You watch your Newsmax and your OAN, and you're ill-informed. I know you laugh because you know it's true. Let me ask again. Why don't you be quiet? Let me ask again. What do you think is worse? What do you think is worse? Maxine Waters, who made a statement that she didn't see anybody throwing rocks, or Donald Trump, who called people who beat cops on January 6th hostages and patriots. What do you think is worse?
Okay. I think those people, those small group of people that
didn't ask you the group. I didn't ask you about what you thought about what they did. I asked you what you think is worse. Answer the question.
Well, I'm answering the question right now. I think it was wrong for those people.
Didn't ask you if you thought it was wrong. I didn't ask you if you thought it was wrong.
Okay.
I'm going to ask the question again. This is why I get frustrated, Al. This is now the third time. I'm giving you the opportunity to answer it. You're not answering. I didn't ask you if it was wrong. Anybody with an IQ over 20 with a moral compass would say it's wrong, okay? Unless you're Donald Trump. What do you think is worse? You called into this show and you had a problem with Maxine Waters allegedly saying that she didn't see anybody throwing rocks, which I'm sure she's telling the truth. Not everybody saw it. What do you think is worse? Maxine Waters saying she didn't see anybody throwing rocks, or Donald Trump calling people who beat police officers on January 6th hostages and patriots and giving them a pardon? What do you think is worse? I'm not asking you what you think is wrong.
I think it's the most stupidest question that has no relevance.
Answer the question. It does have no. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it does have relevance, because you're not smart enough to understand. Here's why it has relevance. You called into this show because you claim you don't like violence. You support Donald Trump and you voted for him. You're so upset that allegedly Maxine Waters made a statement that she didn't see anybody throwing rocks. She didn't condone the violence. She didn't call those people patriots and hostages, and she didn't pardon them. The guy who you voted for pardoned people who beat cops on January 6th. Why won't you answer that question? What is worse? This is now the fourth time I'm asking you.
The one that's worse is Maxine Waters.
Okay, well, then you're an idiot. Then you're a complete idiot. You just said on this show that you think it's worse that Maxine Waters said she didn't see anybody throwing rocks, and you're claiming that is worse than giving pardons to people who beat cops on January 6th. Al, you're a complete imbecile. You're an idiot. Why don't you just admit you're a biased buffoon and you're an imbecile? And why don't you go back? Why don't you crawl back into your stupid MAGA hole and listen to your right-wing talk shows in Las Vegas with 5 listeners? Okay, pal? Why don't you do that? Because every time you call into this show, you embarrass yourself. And instead of like a normal human being that says, boy, I disagree with Donald Trump's pardons. What Donald Trump did was wrong. Those people are not hostages. They're not patriots. You go after the black woman. Why is that, Al? Why is that? Is it because you're an imbecile? Is it because you're not capable of answering a question honestly? Or maybe both, Al? Which one is it, pal? Which one is it? Yeah, have a nice day.
What it is that I'm in tune with the reality.
Yeah, you're in tune with reality. The guy who just said that Maxine Waters claiming that she didn't see anybody throwing rocks is worse than the president of the United States calling somebody a hostage and a patriot who beats a cop. You're an idiot, Al. You're an imbecile. You're just an imbecile. Yeah. You are. Yeah. You're a patriot, Al. Get the hell off my show. You imbecile. You MAGA fool, you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Kirk. Kirk is next up on PTL. What's going on, Kirk?
Hey, Brian. Wow, I tell you what. I'm gonna just say something. Al is a great example of what is wrong with this country. You want to grab onto some little group of instigators within a crowd that threw rocks and bricks. Well, guess what? The narrative with this bullshit is over, because we had millions in the streets this last Saturday, and everyone that was there and wild was a fucking maggot.
Watch the language.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
And in my state up here, we had a guy that had a mask on just like ICE. And what was the reason? Because he wanted to conceal his identity and kill a couple people. So I'm done with hearing the right wing talk about, they got to wear masks because they got to keep their identity secret because they're getting doxxed and they're getting death threats. No, excuse me. This is why a bank robber goes into a bank with a ski mask on.
Can you imagine, caller, somebody who thinks Maxine Waters saying she didn't see anybody throwing rocks is worse than Donald Trump calling people patriots and hostages who beat cops on January 6th? What kind of imbecile would make a statement? I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I like to work on facts, not the word salad propaganda that comes out of the mouth of an orange drag queen.
But that's Donald Trump's base. Okay, his base of supporters think like Al. They want to attack Maxine Waters when she makes a statement, be confrontational. But when it comes to Donald Trump and a January 6th insurrection that we all know doesn't happen if Donald Trump doesn't admit and concede that he lost the election, they have no problem with what took place on that day. In fact, some of them still call it a tourist visit. They have no problem with people like Enrique Tarrio, okay, who is a proven seditious conspiracy guilty, 22 years in jail. They have no problem with those people letting them free. But yet, if someone stands in the middle of the street, in some states, that's a misdemeanor, or if you key a Tesla, they want you 20 years in jail and they call you a terrorist. These are some of the biggest hypocrites and the biggest imbeciles that America has to offer.
Yeah, and I like to remind some people, Hitler had around 80% support or higher as the regime began to flourish in the 30s. And I'll tell you what, Trump ain't got that. Trump ain't got 80% support in this country, and it's pretty clear after this last weekend, his base, like Al, is down to like 25%.
You're right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
They can all think that this guy is the best thing since sliced white bread, but I bet if he can bring some Germans back from the grave, they would tell you, yeah, he was the best until he ran to the bunker and ate an ammo sandwich. And I'll leave it at that.
I don't disagree with you. Good call, my friend. This is an oligarchy and this is a dictatorship. It's very simple, and you're right. Great call. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Rebecca. Rebecca is next up on PTL. Hey, Rebecca, what's going on?
Hi, Brian. Happy Friday. I lost my entire thought about Iran because of Al. Al, I know you're listening. And if you think you're safe pushing your cart out of Home Depot to your truck and think you can't be tackled, you're highly, highly misinformed.
Rebecca, help me out. Answer this question for me.
Sorry.
When somebody says, Rebecca, that they have more of a problem with Maxine Waters saying she didn't see anybody throwing rocks, and that's more of a problem to him than Trump pardoning a bunch of January 6th insurrectionists, some of whom would beat cops. Is it stupidity? Are they naive? Are they intentionally lying? Or is it all three? Which one is it?
They're completely brainwashed and sucked into the cult. They have no thoughts of their own. None. Zero. Gone. Yeah. I've lost friends over this that I went to school with in elementary school. It's so sad.
Yeah, it
so
really
sad.
is.
But I'd rather be friendless than be on the right side of history and not be a racist and a bigot.
Yeah, I completely agree. Thank you for the call, my friend. Somebody on social media just said, once in a while, I do read the comments. They said I couldn't handle a real debate. Interesting you say that, because I just debated in the last month. I've debated Jack Posobiec. I've debated Clay Travis. I've debated Roger Stone on national TV. In the last year, I've debated Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I've debated the press secretary on this very program. I've debated Vivek Ramaswamy. I've debated about 12 surrogates that were within the Trump, not administration, but the Trump campaign. I've debated everybody. Yeah, Caroline Levitt. I've debated her. So for anybody that would say, by the way, I'll debate anybody anytime. And I prove that. A lot of these people dodge me, like Ben Shapiro, who dodged me, did not want to do the show, and people like Charlie Kirk. Luckily, there are some that come on. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Paris. Paris is next up on PTL. Hey, Paris, what's going on?
Good afternoon. Oh my God! I hope, Brian, don't lose sleep over these guys. I'll be honest with you, but I'm stressed out too, because I am so tired of what's going on. We're afraid to even talk. We don't know what anyone's going to do. I stopped listening to the news. The only person that I listen to is once in a while CNN, ABC, which I kind of got backed off because they fired Brian. Not Brian, what's his name? They fired that reporter.
Yeah, so that guy now has a gazillion followers on YouTube and social media. He's going to be just fine. And I thought that what they did to him is disgraceful.
God bless him. He's amazing.
Yep.
You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Don Lemon, you had him on earlier. I was calling to say hello to him. I love him. I listen to him every single stinking day. He is out of this world.
He's a good
You know
man.
what? But I cry. I cry. And this is crazy. We have to fear. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm here since I'm a child. I'm 62 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what it is to fear every single stinking day? You don't know what's going to happen.
Paris,
I am a U.S.
you need
citizen,
to-
but I'm afraid to even talk.
Paris, you need to understand this. You're not alone. There are millions and millions and millions of Americans that are feeling what you are feeling.
Look what's going on.
I know.
Look what's going on,
I
for
know.
goodness sakes.
I know.
It's scary.
It is scary. You're not alone. We're all in this together.
It's scary.
We're all in this
At
together.
times I don't sleep at night because I'm afraid. And I say, my God, you speak up. You don't know what they're going to do to you.
This is not the
You know-
America that I recognize, but I can tell you that you will always have a platform on this show to be able to speak your mind. It's one of the main reasons why I do it. And I will not be
Thank you.
silenced. I will not be
I listen
silenced.
to Midas Touch. I listen to you.
Thank
I
you.
listen to Don Lemon. I listen to CNN once in a while. You know, I know they're restricted, but for goodness sakes, the truth has to come out.
It
It has
absolutely
to be
does.
spoken.
It absolutely
You know,
does.
it's scary. It's scary. Our
You're right.
lives have changed drastically.
My dear,
and
listen.
I don't know where this is
Listen to
going
me. Listen to me. Do the things in life that make you happy. I'm doing that this
Forgive me
weekend.
for crying.
Okay.
Forgive me for crying.
No,
Forgive
listen,
me, but
you have
it's
no
sad.
reason. You have no reason to apologize for being passionate. Okay, we all get emotional. I know I do.
I love this country. I was raised here. I wasn't born here, but I got my citizenship. I paid my taxes. I paid my dues. My parents did. You know what? This country gave me everything that a little kid wanted. Freedom, love, passion, school, you know, everything. And I love for this country. I love it like this.
Okay, listen,
tomorrow.
I'm going to give you some advice because you sound like a wonderful lady. Okay, and by the way, you have a right to be emotional and scared. I think we all are. But listen to me. This is important, okay? You got to do the things in life that make you happy. It could be walking your dog. It could be going to dinner with friends. It could be playing bingo. I'm going out with a lovely lady tonight, and we're gonna go to dinner, and then we're gonna play bingo. You know, you got to do the things in life that make you happy.
I do. I
Okay,
try.
so
but
that's
it's
number
scary.
one.
It's scary. That's all.
I understand that. That's number one. Here's my second piece of advice. We have the 2026 midterms right around the corner. We can't wait till 2028. Okay. Make sure to spread the word. Make sure if you talk to somebody that didn't vote, talk to them and make sure that they
tell
vote.
everybody.
Okay.
I tell everybody. I have friends who voted for Trump. Now they regret it. They're, they're knocking their heads
They
against
should.
the wall.
And
but,
they
you know,
should. But those are the two things that I want you to do. We are going to get through this, not just as a PTL nation, but as a country. I know it's not going to be easy, but we're going to get it through it, my dear. Okay. So stay strong.
Thank you for listening.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
For listening.
You're absolutely.
It's greatly appreciated. You are super amazing.
Thank you.
I look forward to listening to you on a daily basis.
Well, thank you,
You
my
guys
dear.
stay safe. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank
a
you.
wonderful weekend. Thank you for being out there for all of us. I really, really appreciate you, Don Lemon, and everybody.
Thank you,
It makes
sweetie.
a difference.
Thank you,
I just
sweetie.
touch everybody. Have a
Appreciate
great
it.
one.
Thank
Be
you.
well.
Thank you. You
I
too.
smile. I'm watching you. I'm watching you smile. That's the way I love to see you when you're smiling.
Thank you, sweetie.
You make
I don't.
my day.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. I appreciate you. I don't smile enough. People say I have to smile a little bit more. And your call did make me smile a little bit. You sound like such a lovely lady, and I really do appreciate you. By the way, thank you for Diane. Diane went on pushingthelimits.live, and she just made a purchase. She just, I believe, she just purchased a T-shirt, and she said, "Keep the truth going." Well, as long as we have people like you out there supporting what I do, you're damn right I'm going to keep doing that. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Mark. Mark's next. What's up, Mark?
Hey, Brian. To the lady you just called, don't be afraid of this SOB. He's a white 80-year-old supremacist who wants you to be afraid. He's sitting with diapers, a catheter, and a piss bag attached to his leg. And all these typical MAGA that have two teeth in their mouth with coveralls, a straw hat, lives in a swamp and has a $60 made in China Bible that costs to make $3. And you're worried about that orange piece of garbage.
So listen,
not in
Mark,
the White House, in the shit house.
Mark,
the hell with them.
So Mark, I hear what you're saying, at the same time, I think it is valid for a lot of, and I'm not saying you're not saying it's valid, but I think, it's understandable why there are so many people in this country that are really frightened and scared.
Of course, because a lot of them are senior citizens. A lot of them have nowhere to turn to. Maybe they lost their significant loved ones and they're home alone. I get it, but this is what Trump wants. Now, one more thing, Brian.
Yes.
Just one more thing. With this Congress, people, you need to stop saying that they're afraid to stand up against Trump. You know what? You had in World War II the greatest generation that stormed a few beaches in Normandy and faced death, okay? And all the other wars that we were deployed to, they lost their lives. And you're going to tell me that congressmen are afraid to stand up to an 80-year-old white supremacist with a catheter and a piss bag?
I agree with you. I agree with you, Mark. It's not that they're not willing to stand up to him. It's that they're not willing to do what's right because they know it might hurt them. And as far as staying in office, I'm with you 150%. Yes, we need to stand up. We need to be strong. And I got to tell you what the LA Dodgers organization did yesterday. I have so much respect for what they did. Whoever made that decision to not allow ICE in there, God bless you guys. I am going to root for the LA Dodgers. I was born a Boston sports fan and a Boston Red Sox fan. I have a newfound respect for the LA Dodgers. Let me tell you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's see. Let's go up there and see who's let's go to Nathan. Nathan is next up on PTL. Hi, Nathan.
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Hope you had a good vacation. You seem well rested,
Thank you.
Had plenty of energy for Al there. My question, I feel like there's been a lot of news this week, is what do you think about the decision the Supreme Court made about the transgender hormone stuff?
All right. So that's a very complicated issue, and it would probably take 2 hours to really have a full discussion about it. But here's what I will say about this. I don't want to get involved in families' lives. I don't want to get involved in parents' lives. If I was a parent, which I'm not, I would want to make sure that my child went through puberty first before making a decision like that. But guess what? That should be my decision if I'm a parent. Do I believe that if you're born a man I said this on I said this on Piers Morgan because I was asked about it. I believe that if you're born a man, transition to a woman, you shouldn't be on the playing field with other women. However, this isn't a top 5 issue or it's not a top 10 issue. And I don't want to get involved in families' lives, just like I don't want to tell a woman what to do with her body. I want people to live their lives. I want people to be happy. And if it's somebody that is a teenager or younger, that is a decision made by doctors and the legal guardians. It shouldn't be made by the government.
Yeah, I was looking up summaries of the decision. I mean, it's a very long, about 120 pages, give or take. And I got to say, as someone who's in the middle, I think the court got it 100% completely right. There's different levels of scrutiny when it comes to rights. Like there's the highest level of scrutiny is based on like race, alienage, and stuff like that. But with stuff like this, I mean, the court determined that the transgender, whether you identify a certain way, doesn't fit that. And I think it's just kind of when you see people.
Well, can I ask you a question? How does it affect you in your life?
It doesn't affect me.
Then why do you care? Then why do you care? Why do you think the Supreme Court should get involved then? Why do you care?
Well, Brian, did you own slaves? Do you think slavery is bad?
Did I own? You're making an analogy. Hold on a second. Let me.
No. What I'm saying.
Hold on.
Something doesn't have to directly impact.
With respect, you're comparing people who owned human beings to parents who make a decision to allow their children to be trans. Do you realize how ridiculous that analogy is?
Maybe it does not go completely parallel,
Okay,
but my main point with that is saying just because it does not affect everyone does not make it.
Who are you to say that? And why are you against
dangerous.
it? Why are you against it then? Are you an expert? Are you a medical professional? Do you know each individual, each child? Do you understand what's going through their mind? How do you know that this is a detriment or bad for society or bad for that child? Do you have any medical expertise at all to back up your claim? Because I'm assuming that's what your claim is. You think this is bad. Why? What is your expertise to form that opinion?
Well, the majority opinion cites many sources from, I believe, ranging back from like 2015 to 2020, even as early as 2024.
What source are you referring to?
There's a bunch of stuff. You'll have to read the opinion.
Well, I'm asking you, you're citing studies. I'm asking you to cite one study to what you're referring to. I have no idea what you're talking about. You know what studies I would refer to? You know what studies I would go to? Center for Disease Control. I would go to, there are plenty of studies that you could look at, and you could go to medical facilities that will tell you, because this is a fact, that one of the leading causes of children who lose their life is something called suicide, and sometimes it happens because of gender dysphoria. Are you aware of that, sir?
Are you aware that the suicide rate
Why are you not answering
after transition?
Why are you?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
What study are you referring to that would lead you to believe that after a child gets transgender surgery, the odds of them taking their own life is greater? Can you please cite me what study you got that from?
I'll email it to you.
It's, sir, with all due respect.
Brian, you're changing the issue.
Sir, I'm not changing the issue.
I'm not asking you to cite specific things. What I'm saying
is, who are you
to know that teenagers?
What I'm saying is, who are you to say? I'm not telling people what to do with their bodies. You are. Do you understand the difference?
I'm just saying,
yes, you are. You're saying you're okay.
What am I saying?
You're saying you're okay with the Supreme Court ruling on telling parents that they cannot have their children become transgender. So in essence, you're telling parents what to do.
Until they turn 18.
Doesn't matter what the age is. You're telling them what to do. I'm not. Do you understand the difference? It's just like
I'm
abortion.
not telling them what
you're doing is
I'm saying that the law needs to be upheld, and that law is good law.
Okay, what law being upheld? What law being upheld? What law? What do you mean? This hasn't happened in the past. What law? You're talking about recently?
The law that was in question in Scarametti versus Tennessee, which banned hormone therapy and other gender-affirming care.
So you're telling me every parent across the country that has given their children under the age of 18 hormone therapy is breaking the law? Is that what you're saying?
And that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
So what are you talking about then?
What I'm saying now is that after the Supreme Court's decision, that Tennessee law, now on, it's upheld.
Okay, I'm going to try to backtrack.
They would be breaking the law.
I'm going to try to backtrack. Hold on.
We don't believe in
Let's reset. Let's reset. Let's try to backtrack for a moment. Do you have kids, sir?
No, I don't.
You don't. Okay, that's okay. Let's just pretend.
Do you?
Let's just pretend. There's a reason why I asked, sir. Let's pretend you do have kids. The difference between me and you is, just like with abortion, I don't tell people what to do with their bodies. It could be a vaccine. I never was for the mandates. I tell people, if you want to have an abortion, it's a very difficult private decision that you and your family and your doctor make. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your bodies. And I'm not going to hold on. I'm getting to the point here. I'm not going to tell parents what to do when it comes to their kids and being transgender. You know why? Because a child just can't walk into a hospital, like people like you might believe, and automatically get a transgender surgery or hormone therapy. There is a process that you have to go through. You are not a medical expert. Justice Kavanaugh is not a medical expert, and they shouldn't be deciding what parents and doctors believe might be the right thing to do for their children. In essence, you want to go into their homes and tell them, no, you can't have this surgery. Who the hell are you to say that a 16 or 17-year-old teenager who's been wanting to be a different transgender since the age of 5, doctors say it's safe, doctors are okay with it, the parents are okay with it, but you calling in,
split down the middle. Let's not say, all doctors say it's safe. They are split down the middle.
Okay, you're not listening to me.
I'm listening.
No, you're not. I want you to listen to me. I didn't say all doctors agree. Here's what I said. Parents agree. The child's been wanting it done, and they go to see specialists who also approve it. Who the hell are you to say that's wrong? You can't do that when you have zero medical expertise, just like Justice Kavanaugh, who likes his beer.
I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm saying they should wait till 18. If you're 18,
and that's, guess what? If you have a child, then you have the right, if they're under 18, not to have your child get the surgery. That's your opinion, and you're
what
entitled.
If my 12-year-old wants to be a race car driver and wants to drive?
What?
It's like, okay.
What?
What if my child wants to be a race car driver and wants to drive?
Because there is a law that says you have to be. Because there's a law that says you have to be 16 years old to drive a car, nitwit.
Now there's a law
in
that
Tennessee.
says you have to be 18
in Tennessee, not throughout the entire country, right?
Other states,
but if you had it, Oh, okay. Well, we'll see about that. But guess what? A parent.
Other states will
Guess
follow.
what?
I dare. I'll
Here's
put
the
money
difference.
on it.
Here's the difference. You see, if you're 15 years old, you can't drive to another state and drive a race car. Okay. You need a driver's license. Guess what? If you're a parent who lives in Tennessee, you can go to another state and have your child get it. So that's why it's a ridiculous analogy, just like the analogy that you tried to make about slavery, which, with all due respect, sir, shows your complete and utter ignorance. You're talking about people who owned human beings, and you're trying to compare that to legal guardians and doctors that are giving them the okay for a child to have it. Why don't you just worry about yourself? That's the problem with all of you idiots out there. Stop interfering with other people's lives. You don't even have kids yourself. Why don't you just leave people alone? Leave people alone and live your own life, okay? Look in the mirror, pal, and stop trying to tell other people what to do. Holy bejesus. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Mimi is next. Hi, Mimi.
Hi, Ryan. I mean, there's so many topics that you have touched today that I don't even know where to even start. Like, it's insane. Let me start saying that I've been living in this country for 30 years. I'm legal in this country. It took me 20 years to become a citizen. Thousands of dollars, headaches. I have experienced so much racism in this country. Is insane. Insane. Everything that is going on right now, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all. I'm still in shock and unable to believe that he's sitting in the White House again.
What would you say to people that are, where are you from, my dear? Where are you
Mexico.
from? What would you say to Mexican people who live in this country who still support Donald Trump?
Shame of them. That I can't believe that they are both for him. I lost so many friends, best friends, that I have to cut because they're Hispanic. Sorry for my accent. I'm trying. I'm upset and I'm emotional at the same time because I don't understand. They vote for someone that he hates us.
He really does. He called you guys some horrible things. How long did it take you to become a legal citizen in this country?
My conclusion is that maybe some women, some Latino women, dislike him, and they say Salma Hayek went to bed with him, so that's the reason why he hates Mexicans. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I don't even think, my dear, I appreciate your call, and I want more people like you in this country. And let me tell you, and I actually mean that, unlike MAGA Republicans. Listen, let's not get into the weeds here. The reason why he doesn't want people like you in this country, besides the fact he has major problems with women, women of color, he's a racist. He's a bigot. His behavior proves that. Do I need to mention what he said in the last week and what he's done? He got rid of a Martin Luther King statue in the Oval Office. And on June 10th, yesterday, they didn't even want to acknowledge the holiday. In fact, they bragged that people were working. He's a racist. He hates people like you because of where you're from. Powerful women, he tells them to go back to their S-hole countries, even some of those people who were born in this country, like Ocasio-Cortez. Let's go to Susan. Susan's next on PTL. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Brian. How are you today?
Hey, good. What's on your mind?
Well, first of all, the truth will set you free. That was me. And my question to you, and I'm going to take you a little different direction here that I haven't heard you be talking about. I was just recently turned on to you, and I want to say thanks a million for being here.
Well, I can say this. I can make a horrible joke and say anytime a woman is turned on by me, it's a very good day. So I'm sorry. I digress. I'm sorry. Go right ahead. I'm very immature. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I get it. So what's your opinion about Trump and religion, especially the fact that the evangelists voted for this man that doesn't go to church and doesn't abide by the Christian ways? Personally, I find it hypocritical that the people of religion continue to follow Trump, even through all of this cruelty that he is doing with immigrants,
listen,
when their own words in the Bible say, feed the hungry and clothe the poor.
It's a very easy answer to me. And I'll answer it this way. Some of the people that are on the far right, evangelicals, that are the biggest anti-gay, hateful people out there are usually people that are gay. The biggest right-wing evangelicals out there that preach religion and God are some of the biggest sinners in the world. They're the biggest sinners in the world. So it doesn't, surprise me at all that a guy who claims the Bible's his favorite book, who can't memorize one passage in the book, who sells Bibles for $60, made for $3 in China, is the guy that they would support, because they are some of the biggest hypocrites in the world. Let me repeat it. Some of the most religious people on the far right are some of the biggest hypocrites that America has to offer, period.
Yeah. Kind of like that guy that, what was his name? May, that was a Republican that just got,
right.
For child pornography on his phone. And he said somebody, took his phone or whatever, took over his phone, and it wasn't him. I actually have done some research on the differences between Republicans and Democrats that have been charged with child pornography or child sex.
Look at that. Look at the clergy. Look at the churches. Look at the clergy. You're absolutely correct. You're correct. Oh, by the way, how come the Epstein files haven't been released? Could somebody please help me out with that? I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that maybe Donald Trump might be all over the Epstein files. I don't know. Maybe Pam Bondi ran out of whiteout. Thank you for the call, my dear, and your support. I appreciate you. Let's go to William. William is next up on PTL. Hi, William.
And how are you?
Hey, William.
I just wanted to check in. You had said something that you're tired of CNN. I can't watch Fox anymore because you don't learn anything.
Well, I think a lot of people on Fox News, it's not really news. It's a propaganda network. And even people like Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon are now starting to say that. Here's why I'm frustrated with CNN. I think there are a lot of talented people at CNN, but I'm very disappointed with the Jake Tapper book. I think Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo, I enjoyed watching their programs. Chris Cuomo is a different person now. It's very difficult for me when they pay somebody like Scott Jennings to spew his vomit on the air every day. So I'm forced to watch some of these networks because I like to hear both sides, and then I form my own opinion. But I got to tell you, it's torture.
Do you think Gutfeld is funny at all?
Absolutely not. I think he's a little weasel. He's no more funny than Ben Shapiro. I think they're both little weasels. I'm trying to think of that other guy who used to be a cab driver who now does a show on Fox News. I'm trying to remember his name. I guess he's a comedian now. Jimmy Fallon.
No,
Fallon.
He's not funny.
Absolute imbecile. Let me tell you a little secret about Jimmy Fallon. For anybody that listens to his radio show, the entire show is scripted. None of my show is scripted. I'll write notes on a piece of paper. There's maybe like a paragraph here from a 2-hour show. Jimmy Fallon's entire show, he's reading and it's scripted. He's a talentless buffoon.
No, he's not funny at all.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing is, because your audience doesn't appreciate how hard you work, I'm paying for your date tonight.
Wow. Well, that's pretty nice of you, my friend. Bingo gets really expensive, William. Bingo gets really expensive.
Brian, I know you're not going to spend over a nickel.
No. Well, yeah, I heard bingo is like $5,000 over there at Red Rock, William. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
Is that like a flare that goes out to distract the missile coming in?
I'm joking.
Bingo?
I'm joking. William, that is very generous of you, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate you calling in and supporting the show, my friend. I really do. Thank you very much, William. I appreciate you. Appreciate that very much. Stuart, also with a very generous donation on the YouTube Super Chat. We appreciate you, Stuart, and anybody going on pushingthelimits.live. We appreciate you, but I won't use it for my date tonight. I will use it for the show, for show purposes. Let's go to Robert. Robert's next. What's up, Robert?
Hey there, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, good. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, man, we've been listening to you. We follow you every day.
Thank you.
Look here, I just want to put out there a little bit. Everybody lost sight of who helped create this mess out here, which was the Supreme Court. Supreme Court helped create this problem we have in today. By
well, for a couple reasons, right? A couple reasons,
Yeah.
right? They overturned Roe versus Wade. They gave Donald Trump immunity. Make no mistake
Yeah.
about it. Justice Kavanaugh and these other scumbags on the far right, Clarence Thomas is a despicable human being. Despicable. They're corrupt. His wife is
Right.
corrupt. These are really awful people. They're awful people.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that Clarence Thomas thing years ago. They should have got him a long time ago. But, I mean, your Roberts and them and Alito and all of them, Kavanaugh, they helped create the problem we got. And I just want people out there to realize, don't overlook that. They are a big, major problem here.
Amen, my friend. I agree with you 150%. And sometimes that could be overlooked, and we can't overlook that. And I'm so glad that you brought that up. Hi, Kim. You're next up on PTL. What's going on? Hi, Kim. Kim, are you there?
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
I just wanted to let you know I live in one of the reddest states there is, so my vote for Kamala didn't count at all. And people that try to tell you that they're not racist, I don't know if they're trying to convince you or themselves that they're not racist.
Well, it's like Trump. Every time somebody calls Trump racist, which he is, by the way, I'm the least racist person. Many people are saying, I'm the least racist person you'll ever meet. Listen, when somebody makes a statement like that, or they talk about their black friend that they have, you know what they're really saying. They're racist.
They are.
Yeah.
And he has no business in the White House or any of his cabinet. He's putting us in more danger security-wise because nobody in his cabinet has a clue what they're supposed to be doing.
You're right about that. Not only do they not have a clue, but they're also listening to everything Orange Man tells them to do, which makes it very, very dangerous. And that's why we see what's going on with these ICE raids across the country. And it's an America that I just, unfortunately for me, I just don't recognize anymore. I don't recognize it anymore. 702-221-7283, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Larry. Larry is next up on PTL. Hey, Larry, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. I just wanted to ask what you think about this report that came out. I believe what's the gentleman's name of the FBI, Patel. He released files related to the 2020 election and something with the Chinese plot.
Yeah, it's all nonsense. It'll never be proven in a courtroom. They're still on the case that, listen, Russia interfered in the elections. How do we know that? Because the FBI concluded that they're on Facebook posts and social media posts that they interfered. It doesn't mean that the election was stolen. It did mean that Russia interfered. If they find somehow that China was posting things somewhere and that maybe there was some interference, it doesn't mean that it controlled the outcome of a free and fair election.
From what I read, it was a plot to make a bunch of fake licenses and get mail-in ballots from that.
Well, I don't know if that's true or not. I just simply don't know if that's true. And even if it is true, it'd have to be proven in a courtroom, my friend. That's the best thing that I could say.
Do you think that it's worth Congress holding a hearing for it?
If there's enough sufficient evidence to prove, then that they can do it if they would like. But I haven't seen any sufficient evidence that Kash Patel has provided to lead me to believe that that would be the case. Have you? Just because Kash Patel
I don't believe it's pro. I think he just gave it to Chuck Grassley.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think there's any real evidence. And as the FBI and our own CIA said, it was one of the most, I guess you could say, fairest, free and fair elections we've ever had. So I'm going to believe what they said and not what Kash Patel says. That's just my personal opinion.
So if they change course, what do you believe then?
Well, I can tell you right now.
What if the evidence? What if
here's what I believe.
Evidence is there?
Well, that's a big if. I haven't seen anything like that. Obviously, if it could be presented in a courtroom, then that would be different. But let me tell you something. Donald Trump won a free and fair election in 2016, even though you could make the case that James Comey didn't help the situation any. Donald Trump lost a free and fair election. Joe Biden won in 2020. People can say what they want about Elon Musk, but I've seen no evidence to suggest that Trump stole the election in 2024. That's what that's what I believe, and we're just going to have to live with it. That's my opinion.
Okay. So my last question is, if you had to get a bingo tonight You going vertical, horizontal, diagonal?
You know, call me crazy, my friend. I love four corners. You missed that one. I like four corners, my friend. I got to tell you, I like four. Yeah. I appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you very much. I appreciate
One last question.
Sure.
One last question.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you give Nicole Mitchell her wig back, and what costs more, for her to wear it or for you to wear it?
Well, you know what? We've got Nicole Mitchell coming on the show right now, so I'll ask her that very question. I appreciate the call, sir. Thank you so much for the phone call.
Right.
You know, wait, well, hold on. She's on right now. Go ahead. You could ask her right now. Nicole Mitchell, former, of course, pastor turned OnlyFans model and life coach. Go ahead, caller. You can ask Nicole Mitchell right now as she joins us.
Nicole?
Yes, my love.
Wow, I'm like starstruck right now. I'm like,
So nice to hear your voice.
You got a fan, Nicole. You got plenty of fans.
I guess my question to you is, how much do you charge more if you wear the wig or if Brian wears the wig? And does that price change with pitching or catching?
Well, I'm not going to go there. We're not going to go there, Nicole. We're not going there. But that was a dirty question. But he did ask you about the wig. If you guys missed it last week, I wore Nicole Mitchell's wig. There are still people that think that was actually Pam Bondi who was on this show. I still get people that think that's how good of an actress Nicole Mitchell is. Nicole, how's it going? It's good to see you. How are you?
It's so good. It made my day when I saw you wear the wig last week. I love that you're putting it to use. I hope you got paid extra money because, you look so good in it. So thank you for rocking it, Brian.
Well, I appreciate that. I thank you for leaving it here. For those of you that are unaware, I was in San Diego last week. I had the chance to see Nicole's beautiful home. It is absolutely beautiful. I'm so jealous. We had the opportunity to hang out on the beach for a little bit. I got a little bit of life coaching. And believe it or not, I will say this publicly on the air. She also got me a manicure and a pedicure, which I definitely needed. So yes, thank you, Nicole, for that.
You are so welcome. I was telling him, I'm like, you want to bring those ladies home, you got to be trimmed up. So we took care of business. He's looking sharp, clean, put together. That's
debatable.
So much fun. And
I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Nicole has a beautiful home in a beautiful area in California. I really love that area you live in, Nicole. So this is always the opportunity of the show where we talk about some positive stuff, but you're always interviewing me on a Friday and asking me cool questions that maybe fans of the show want to learn maybe a little bit more about me. I don't know. So go ahead. You're on the clock, Nicole. Go for it.
This is the best. Okay, I want to encourage people who are watching right now to do a super chat because it's you're supporting a local business owner, which is Brian. You get to ask him your questions and we get to read your questions. So for anyone who's watching live, please send in a super chat, ask him a question. Please embarrass him. Please embarrass him.
You could embarrass
please ask embarrassing questions. Yeah, have fun. We want to interact with you guys. And I was telling him we should even start incorporating where you guys can call in and get dating advice because believe it or not, Brian has really good dating advice.
I just don't take it myself.
Right. We're working on that part of it, but he gives good dating advice. I love getting dating advice. So bring in your questions, get ready to call. We'll do call in. Probably not this time, but next time.
Sounds fair.
We want to make this engaging. Okay. I see some comments coming in. Let me see if I can zoom in.
You can read the comments if you'd like.
Marry that girl, says Luck Dragon. Then Jesse the Butt says, I thought Nicole's married.
Yeah, Nicole Shapiro just doesn't sound. I mean, it sounds great rolling off the tongue, but it's not going to happen. So,
Brian is a dear, wonderful friend. I do have a fiance. I don't know if I'll get married though, you guys.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Oh my
but
God.
I'll be
Nicole your bingo date? I would totally go to bingo with you.
I would totally go to bingo with Nicole. I won't say what our favorite number is. I'll leave that for another show. But I will say this, though. I do have a lovely date, and we are going to be playing a little bit of bingo tonight. Yes.
Oh, my God. That's so awesome.
Yes.
Okay. What's your astrology sign, Brian? Do you know?
I am an Aries. My birthday is in April. I am an Aries.
Okay. So, I lost the comment. Someone said, we are an Aries. We give the best dating advice. We just don't take it. But I couldn't see the name. It moved too fast. So that is awesome.
You have a lot of fans that are making some very.
It's MJ. I love this. You're an Aries. We give the best advice, but we don't take it. So
Aries. I don't know a lot about Aries, but I I know that I am one, and I know a lot of women that go out with me. John says we make a nice couple. I don't know. I'm going to blush, and then Nicole's going to vomit, but that's okay. Let's see here. My favorite bingo number, between 68 and 70. He might be onto something there. Michael says, Nicole, you're beautiful. It's always nice, like because we talk about a lot of very stressful, serious topics on this show, which I'm willing to do. And that's what we do on this show every day. But it's nice to have Nicole on a Friday to kind of ease the tension a little bit, you know? And by the way, Nicole is my official life coach. You might have heard her advertisements on this show. She has done a great job. Jeff says, Nicole, you are so hot. I know that my producer Numchuck agrees with that, as he's shaking his head yes right now. I concur as well. I do. Robin says, I love the hat. It suits him. Well, thank you for that, Robin. I appreciate that very, very much. Nicole, is there anything that you would like to ask me that maybe you don't even know about me? We know each other pretty well.
We do. Okay, so I saw someone's comment, and I'm going to ask it because, we're both pervs. This comment was saying about how much time do you spend thinking about strangers' genitals? That's my question to you.
Well, there are a lot of MAGA supporters that I think of the mushroom on Donald Trump 24/7. So I will say that. I will also say to some of the MAGA people that call into the show, I do think they think of my genitals on a regular basis. In fact, they even comment on what bed I sleep in at night. So I do think they do think about that from time to time, probably more than I think of my own. So that is what I would say to that one. But yeah, we can move on.
I love your responses.
We can move on to another question. Go ahead.
Okay, I actually saw a good question in there, and I want to hear your advice, Brian, because I actually have my own answer. It's 2025. Should a woman make the first move or not?
I think there is nothing wrong with a woman making the first move. I think if you're a misogynist pig, you will call that woman a bad name for doing that. But it depends how they do it, right? As long as you're not rude about it or nasty about it, I think women could get away with a lot more things than maybe men could in a situation like that. But I think if you do it in a respectful way, there's nothing wrong with a woman approaching you and saying, hey, I'd love to take you out or something. I think that's great. Why should the man always have to do it?
I am totally on board. So I'm a very driven woman, and I know what I want. And so I don't feel like I have to wait for someone to give me what I want. Like, I'm going to go for it. So if I'm interested in you, if I feel like we have a vibe, I have no problem initiating. So I think it's less about gender roles, and it's more about do what you want. If it feels good, do it.
I think it's fair as long as you don't do what Donald Trump says and grabbing women by the genitals. That's something that I would not condone, even though many people that voted for him have no problem with that. All right. Good question. Next one. We got a couple more minutes here.
I love you.
Next.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm just looking at the comments here too. I love you. Someone just asked me to marry them. This is amazing. Oh, wow. In 1987, I made the first move asking a guy out. Brian, has a woman ever made the first move with you?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. It absolutely has happened. Sometimes it's worked out. Sometimes it has not.
Okay.
I had a relationship for 5 years where the woman made the first move. So yes, it has happened from time to time. Sometimes when I'm out with you and we're doing events here in Vegas, usually it's the men that want to take selfies with me, but that's okay.
I love that. I've also initiated first. I've had men pursue me, and I've pursued men. So I think things are so fluid. It's so good.
What's wrong with that? By the way, what do you have going on this weekend?
This weekend, I'm flying to Ireland, Brian, and I am officiating my best friend's wedding in Ireland.
Wow, that is super exciting.
And
I heard they like to drink out there. That's what I've heard. They like beer.
Baby. So if you want to see Nicole get a little sloshed, I do recommend joining my OnlyFans. It is one of my fans' favorite viewings of me. It rarely happens, but there's a good chance being in Ireland.
I think I did see it happen in Vegas. But we don't have to talk about that, but I think I did see it happen at least once.
Brian did witness this in person. And so I'm doing Ireland, and then they're hosting their after party in Ibiza. And I've never been to Ibiza, which obviously is a big party island. So I'm going to have a grand old time. That also means I will not be here next Friday. So everyone, please wait for my return 2 Fridays from now. But that is what I'm doing. I'm going to be in Europe.
I am so jealous. That sounds like so much fun. I'm also jealous with the weather you have out there close to San Diego. The weather you have out there where you live is so damn beautiful. It's like 110 degrees in Vegas, man. It's brutal. It really is brutal.
Yep.
But,
I like to visit, get my hot weather on for a minute, and then I like to fly out. But Brian does have a gorgeous, gorgeous pool that I told him I cannot wait to come back and have another pool day because it's a whole vibe. So we will definitely get that on the books.
Yes, we are going to get you back out here, and you're going to be co-hosting with me, and maybe we can do a little bit of relationship advice next time. Nicole, the official life coach of Brian Shapiro and PTL, I appreciate you coming on, and I can't wait. Have so much fun in Ireland, by the way. I know you're going to have a great time. Have a great time out there, and we will see you soon back here on PTL. Okay, have a great trip.
Thank you. Bye, Brian. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, Nicole. Good questions by everybody, by the way. Some fun stuff. You know, listen, it's a Friday, the last segment of the show, the last portion of the show. We like to have a good time here. We talk about a lot of serious issues. We talk about a lot of tough issues, important issues. But I think it's also important to remember that life is short and we have to have a little bit of fun too. We try to mix in that. I also want to thank my friend Don Lemon, of course, from the Don Lemon Show. Don joined us at the beginning of the show today. And I think he is just absolutely, I love Don. He's the best. So Don Lemon, appreciate you for joining us. Monday on the show, of course, we will be back same time, same place. Listen, we appreciate everybody in the YouTube Super Chat. The best thing you can do for us, besides going on our website, which is pushingthelimits.live, because we run an independently owned show, the best thing you can do is to just spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell people about this show. And if they can't watch the show live, which we hope they do, but if they can't watch the show live, then watch the podcast on my YouTube page. It's always going to be out there. So I love you guys. Hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. I know I will. I have some very special plans. As I said, a little bingo date tonight. Yes. Going to have a little, I haven't played bingo in a long time. It's going to be a lot of fun. Going to dinner, going to play some bingo. Tomorrow, I am going to my favorite barbecue restaurant with a friend of mine. And then we are going to go to a place called Foundation Room, which is on the top of Mandalay Bay. I got an invite to go up there. The views are incredible. And then on Sunday, I plan on going to a steakhouse at Paris on the Eiffel Tower restaurant there. So I'm going to be eating some good food this weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope I can win at bingo. I'll give you guys an update on that. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. I love all you guys. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday, same time, same place. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas